Now, whether you think he looks more like a boxer than a footballer, Angelo Stiller is a wanted man. And he's wanted, according to this post on X, by incoming Real Madrid Los Blancos coach Xabi Alonso. I was just scrolling this afternoon, having uploaded my preview videos for all the games coming in match day 34. And by the way, those videos will be linked in the description box down below, because of course match day 34 is the last day of the Bundesliga season. There's some key games such as Munich or FC Bayern playing away at Hoffenheim in Thomas Muller's last ever game, at least in the Bundesliga, in an FC Bayern shirt, and Leverkusen playing away to Mainz, where even if they scratch out a draw, if Leverkusen scratch out a draw, they will set the record for the most consecutive away games undefeated. That's right. It could be 34 games undefeated. That's a stretch of games that goes over 2 seasons, which will be remarkable. Anyway, those 4 videos that have been uploaded today on the 16th of May are all available in the description box down below. So while I was scrolling for more content, again, this article popped up. Real Madrid's incoming coach Xabi Alonso has got a short list of targets that he wants to bring in to rebuild in a football manager type way that Real Madrid team. On that list is Angelo Stiller, and he would cost around €40 million, which is, probably close to the... Well, we'll get close to what that amount could be close to as we progress. Anyway, so that popped up, and then that sent me down the rabbit hole. There you go. Here's this short list. So Real Madrid is scouting for a new midfielder. In the last few hours, 3 names have emerged. Ezequiel Palacios, what a name, from Leverkusen. Of course, Alonso would know him intimately because he managed him while he was at, and actually signed him for Leverkusen. Tijuana, or Tijani, or Pepe Reinders from Milan. I've seen him play in the San Siro. What a baller he is. And then, of course, young man Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart. Stiller being the youngest of those 3, only aged 24. Let's take a look at him. Right, so this is Angelo Stiller. Get a full look at his profile. Look, he, like I say, is only 24 years of age. 1.83 metres tall. Interesting that his agent is the same agent as Toni KROOS. Remember Toni KROOS? What a baller he was. Won all those trophies with Real Madrid. Won the World Cup for Germany back in 2014 under Joachim Löw. People refer to this guy, Stiller, as a Toni KROOS regen. Now that is high praise indeed. And he's got the same agent. Talk about continuity. That'd be an interesting fact. Anyway, so he was picked up by... we can see here, look. Actually, he started in the academy at Bayern Munich, and he was let go. That was around, 21, so post-COVID. Munich went out, FC Bayern went out and bought 2 signings, and this guy was sort of unceremoniously let go. I think he found out in the press. It was horrible, it was messy. It did highlight that Munich probably need to manage their younger talent better. They needed some sort of better infrastructure. Anyway, so he's let go. He went off to play for Hoffenheim on a free transfer, and on the back of that, Stuttgart picked him up a couple of years ago for €5.5 million, €5.5 million. And in that length of time, we can have a look at his full stats, just so you can see the full picture of Angelo Stiller's time with Stuttgart. It's 80 games he's played in total over the last few years. Most of that as a DM, as a defensive midfielder. Look at that, 77 times out of 80 as a defensive midfielder. He can drop back as a centre-back if needed, but his instincts are to serve and protect, a bit like RoboCop. Puts in a tackle, tracks back, almost like a deep line midfielder, can nick the ball, and then can, with his extraordinary technical range of passing, can get a move going. Not exactly box to box, but he has got an engine on him. Anyway, 80 times he's played for Stuttgart. He's scored 5 goals and he's come up with 15 assists. That's in total. And this season, he's played 44 times, 4 goals, 9 assists. So what's that? 13 goal involvements. Actually, he's played centre back twice, but again, 44 times as a defensive midfielder, 4 goals, 9 assists. Pretty damn good. And of course, he's got Champions League experience because Stuttgart, VfB Stuttgart, by virtue of coming second last season in the invincible season that was for Bayer Leverkusen and Xabi Alonso. Again, that name's going to keep popping up because of the shortlist that he's drawn up before he even gets in the job at Real Madrid. In that invincible winning season, Stuttgart came second. And it's by virtue of that, they're in the Champions League. And that's always ended up on the radar of a lot of these clubs that we're going to talk about in this video today. This is someone just picking out some of his great traits. Yeah, look, Angelo Stiller versus the top 5 under 24-year-old midfielders across Europe in the top 5 leagues. He's got the most touches, most progressive actions, most passes attempted and completed, most forward passes, most short passes, most long passes. The key one here is most progressive passes, along with most passes into the final third, right? So again, he's got the range, he's got technical ability, he's a ball carrier, he can drag people forward, a bit like Kimmich. In fact, actually, there is a quote somewhere that Kimmich has likened him to Toni KROOS, which again is high praise. This is another tweet which is calling out the most big chances created in the Bundesliga this season. Michael Olise leads the way with 27, but who's on that list? Angelo Stiller, 13, just above our favourite, Gonzo's favourite, Julian Brandt. And this article, which I will link in the description below, by the way, fansided.com. Angelo Stiller's success is more evidence of Bayern Music's flawed academy model, which I spoke about. And it is in here, by the way. Where is it? There we go. Look, yeah. Bayern went out and bought 2 midfielders who didn't really make an impression. So that meant that Stiller had to pack his bags and get out. He said it was like a slap in the face. He was counting on getting the chance to being able to train with the first team and then maybe playing a few DFB Pokal games. He was blocked, so he goes out on loan to Hoffenheim. He does really well. Stuttgart pick him up, and it's transformative. And now he's ranked 4th in all of Europe's top 5 leagues, which again is back to that tweet or that X post here. Look, he is 4th in Europe's top 5 leagues for progressive passes, behind Kimmich, Pedri of Barcelona, who have just won La Liga, by the way, ahead of Real Madrid. And again, that's a moot point we'll come back to, along with ex-Arsenal hardman Granit Xhaka, as well as 5th for passes into the penalty area, along with those above-mentioned players, and Juventus Manuel Locatelli, as I get prodded in the back by Gonzo, who tells me that Locatelli was on Arsenal's radar 3 years ago. And there's some great extra stats here about his performances and how he ranks in terms of those progressive passes. It's his pass selection. That's what I was talking about a few minutes ago, right? His technical brilliance. One could argue that all those stats are a result of his pass selection, that if the team loses the ball, that's because they aren't forward thinking. Well, that's exactly what he is, right? He can make a pass that can go forward, that can cut through a line of opposition defence. And he's just very, very confident. He just doesn't have a lot of nerves. That's a quote from Julian Nagelsmann that, yeah. Here we go, look. I was impressed with his calmness on the ball. He's very rarely nervous. He's got a big future ahead of him. Right? So that's high praise from a guy that picked him for Die Mannschaft for the national team. Now, that range of passing, that ability to unlock defences, and all this game time and the goals that he's created, again, 8 assists coming from you could argue, a deep line midfielder, which is deep line playmaker, deep line midfielder. There's terminology from Football Manager. That has enabled, overall table. That has enabled Stuttgart to currently be placed in 9th. So there's no qualification via the domestic Bundesliga to get into Europe. I was just looking at their form over the last 3 games, of which he's featured, although he did go off injured against, who were they playing last time out? They won 4-0, that was against Augsburg. Yeah, so he did feature in that game, but he went off injured. In fact, just as a side note, and it was a bit cruel actually. Where has it gone? Yeah, Stiller went off injured quite early on. Yannick Keitel, great name, Harvey Keitel came on, and then he had to be substituted 15 minutes after that because he suffered from a recurring injury, which is real nasty. The point I'm trying to make is that they're a better team. Stuttgart are a better team with him in it. He's dragged them all the way up to 9th, but also, more importantly, they're in the DFB Pokal final. Like, is he going to miss it? That's a big question mark. And I'm flagging this up, by the way, because we, on this channel, German Football Spotlight channel, we're going to be doing a watch-along for that DFB Pokal final, because it's going to be a landmark game, actually. Because if Stuttgart win, they'll qualify for the Europa League, which would be fantastic. But also, if ARMINIA Bielefeld win, and it's in Berlin, the final, and it'll take our breath away, it'll be history. It'll be a landmark game because it'll be the first time that a team from outside of the Bundesliga or the Zweite Bundesliga has ever won that tournament. So it'll be history in the making. So come and watch it with us on May 24th. We'll do some build up to it. We'll put some posts out across various social media sites with a link. And of course, we'll be available on the day to do a watch along. Please come and get stuck in with us. And it'd be remiss of me not to ask you right now to like this video, smash that like, subscribe. Let me see those fingers, work those fingers and those thumbs. Please subscribe. And also, while you're at it, spread the word. Tell your classmates, tell your workmates, tell your family, tell people in the coffee shop, in the grocery shop, when you're buying your bread, your milk, and your football stickers, and your drinks and your snacks for the weekend of Bundesliga action. Spread the word, get people in, because we'll look after everybody. This is a safe space here. Real men cry too. We're trying to grow a community. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. We're 64 at the minute. We're growing strong day by day. Yeah, spread the word, bring everyone in, and bring them along for this watch along for the DFB Pokal final on May 24th. Back to Angelo Stiller then, right? So, Barcelona are one of the teams that's been reported to be interested in him. This interest apparently started last summer when Hansi Flick got the job. Now, Hansi Flick would know him because Hansi Flick managed, well, he was managing Bayern Munich. He probably had to sign off on Stiller's future, which is quite perverse if you think about it, quite fateful. Anyway, Hansi Flick takes the job last summer with Barcelona. He's fabulous at working with young talent. They go on to win La Liga, as we've called out. That's true. They've beaten Real Madrid. So he's been on his radar for a while. That was because Sergio Busquets was out injured, having a nasty time. But they are stacked out with midfielders. Like people like Frenkie de Jong, Mark Casado and Mark Bernal are in a position that Stiller was in a few years ago, bursting through. Plus they've got Gavi and Pedri. Whereas Real Madrid, well, they're lacking someone to control the middle of the park. And they're in a position that's very similar to Arsenal, in that Arsenal are losing out on Thomas Partey and Jorginho. Both will be going at the end of this season on a Bosman, basically be free agents. Jorginho's already got a club lined up. He's off to Brazil to play for Flamengo. Not sure where Thomas Partey's going. He'll either go to Saudi or go to Italy. So bringing in someone like an Angelo Stiller to play alongside a Declan Rice and a Mikel Merino would be awesome. Isn't that right, Gonzo? Yeah, Gonzo agrees, as does Mesut Ozil, who of course played in Germany in the Bundesliga for both Werder Bremen and Schalke. Barcelona, they haven't got a lot of money, have they? They're struggling. They've got some debts. And those debts, I recall, do stretch back to the outrageous signing of Coutinho from Liverpool for, what was it? Was it 148 million euro they spent on Coutinho? There's a lesson for you. Yeah, in terms of stacking your transactions and buying people via Klarna. Maybe Barcelona should have done that. Anyway, so Barcelona haven't got the readies. Plus, I don't think they'll be able to register him in time. And Real Madrid would make more sense. And there's a great article here. This is football-espania.net. Real Madrid are in the market for a new midfielder. That's following the departure of Toni KROOS. Again, there is a very tangible link there between a Real Madrid with Toni KROOS that won everything last season under the Don, Carlo Ancelotti, and a Toni KROOS and a Real Madrid without Toni KROOS this season who's come second and has crashed out the Champions League too. That's right, Gonzo. That's right, to Arsenal. Anyway, Los Blancos have been linked with several midfielders, including Martin ZUBIMENDI. ZUBIMENDI, we'll come on to him, and Angelo STILLER, because they played against each other in the Champions League, which is what I was calling out here, that Stiller's got Champions League experience. Well, they played against each other this season. Yeah, look, this is from whoscored.com, and you can see Stiller playing alongside Aitor Carazar as part of a double pivot and a 4-2-3-1 under Sebastian Hoeneß for Stuttgart. Again, they narrowly lost that game, but his performance really impressed. I saw that line somewhere and I wanted to call it out. Yeah, he was in fine form despite the fact that they suffered an unfortunate defeat. For Stuttgart, Stiller tends to operate in a deeper role, again, a bit like a Toni KROOS, acting as a launch pad for Stuttgart's attacks, offering a directional presence in the middle of the park because he's got that fabulous technical ability and range of passing. Liverpool interested. This was on the 5th of May. Liverpool absolutely determined to sign Angelo STILLER in the summer, whereas Stuttgart demand 60 million for their star midfielder. And the point here is that, all right, Liverpool have just won the Premier League. Clap that one in. Well done, Taft man. Well done, all you Liverpool fans out there. Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexi McAllister. He's got two of the brothers, hasn't he? Let me know in the comment section down below if you know what those brothers are called. There may or may not be a prize. And Ryan Gravenberch. They've all contributed significantly to this Premier League title. However, they're knackered, right? Which is why, and this article points it out, towards the latter part of the season, the Reds have been overrun through the middle because fatigue has played a part. And this article links to another article, fluent in German, of which I'm not. German publication Stuttgarter Nachrichten has now revealed that Liverpool are planning to go hard. Going Keisho Sano hard. Keisho Sano plays in the midfield, by the way, for Mainz. Japanese midfielder, yeah. Liverpool want to go in hard, Keisho Sano style, for the Stuttgart star. And it's claimed that Stiller's tactical maturity and his ability to organise the game from the base of the midfield has impressed Arne Slot, who's placed him. As a result of having those traits, those brilliant traits, Slot's put Angelo Stiller on the top of his priority list, well, along with Jeremy Frimpong. Although weirdly, according to the Anfield Index on May the 12th, Liverpool have made no contact with the club. This, again, is according to Fabian Volagmuth, the sporting director. There's Kevin De Bruyne there. Kevin De Bruyne, by the way, linked with Liverpool and Napoli. I can't see him going to Liverpool. Anyway, sporting director Fabian Volagmuth clarified the situation, telling that same publication, the Stuttgarter Nachrichten, there's been no direct or indirect contact with Liverpool regarding Angelo so far, although he didn't shut the door entirely on it, did he? He said, I don't want to rule out the possibility of that happening at some point in future. And again, yeah, that's clever. That careful language, measured but open-ended, a bit like how I like to conduct my actions with my ex-wife, has only fueled speculation that Liverpool may be preparing a move as the club are looking to strengthen their engine room. Again, that midfield fell off towards the latter end of the season. Still won the Premier League, but fell off because everyone's knackered. Everyone's knackered. And this guy would fit the bill for around 50, 60 million euro. They are. And again, they call out the stats. The 24-year-old has been instrumental in Stuttgart's impressive Bundesliga campaign. There you go, look at that. 98th percentile, so these are from fbref.com, which is a great resource, by the way. 98th percentile for progressive passes, 97th percentile for passes attempted, 91st percentile for shot creating chances. And again, 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 goal involvements across 41 competitive games. There is that article. Again, it's all in German. I will link it in the description below. Go and knock yourselves out. Go and read that. And again, Arsenal, yes, we wouldn't be a transfer update, transfer talk content without mentioning Arsenal. Arsenal are in a race to sign Angelo STILLER. That's according to Christian Falk. Christian Falk runs this podcast called Bayern Insider, and you can find him on X. Here, look, Christian Falk, head of football for Sport Build. So we've got to trust him. And he runs his own podcast, which again is here, Bayern Insider. Not just about FC Bayern, it's about other clubs as well. Anyway, according to him, and it feels like it's a if-then statement, if Arsenal can't get hold of Martin ZUBIMENDI, then this will be a great backup option. Again, here you go. OneFootball, and we would love a corporate relationship with OneFootball. Please, at some point in the future, get in touch. Get in touch, please, OneFootball. Let's have a partnership, yeah? I could do videos for you. I could do daily content. I could be your voice of the people, the voice of the fans. OneFootball, by the way, not a paid... This isn't a paid promotion whatsoever, but it is a great streaming service. You can stream the Bundesliga, just not the one that we like. The Austrian Bundesliga and other provincial European leagues, and even leagues in America, MLS, some Mexican Pachucho FC, they're in the Club World Cup. You can stream some games for free. You can stream some games for individual costs on a pay-per-view, but it's tiny amounts, like €5 or €6. You have some Serie A games on there. Anyway, go and check it out. Link in the description to OneFootball. Again, not a paid promotion, but I wish it was, because I'd love to partner with them. Anyway, onefootball.com. Arsenal hold the advantage in race for Stuttgart midfielder. That was on May the 10th. Is attracting attention. Yes. Again, we call out Christian Falk. Now, there's a release clause here. This is what I was hinting at the beginning. He did now still signed an extension to his contract recently, which, if you look here, takes him through to June 2028. However, there is a release clause which comes up next summer, 2026, for €36.5 million, which is, I assume, what a lot of these clubs have caught on to, especially Liverpool, especially Real Madrid. This is an extremely versatile midfielder, comfortable playing either as a defensive or central midfielder. He boasts impressive technical quality and absolutely excels in ball progression and distribution, as evidenced by his 8 assists this season, which places him joint 6th in the Bundesliga for stats. And again, Jorginho has confirmed that he's going to Flamengo in Brazil, and Thomas Partey is expected to leave. Of course, Arsenal's target is Martin ZUBIMENDI. Now, if you believe a lot of this talk from sites like Football Talk, then that deal's already been done. But it's not, has it? It's not been done yet. It's not been confirmed, because we've not seen him officially outside the Emirates in that Arsenal shirt with a squad number. So until then, we just have to go along with it. Anyway, here is Martin ZUBIMENDI. He's 26 years of age. He's 1.81 metres tall. What's that? Sort of 5 foot... Is that 5'8"? Yeah, 5'8", 5'9". Anyway, he's played for Real Sociedad, or Real Sociedad, where he still does play for the San Sebastian club. He has played 234 times. In that period of time, he's scored 10 goals and he's come up with 9 assists. Most of that's in La Liga, but he does have all this European football at the elite level experience. Elite level football experience. Look, Europa League, Champions League, Copa del Rey, again domestically in Spain, along with the Super Copa, and more importantly, national team experience. Look at that. Every age group, under 17s, 19s, 21s, 23s, the Olympic team, and the adult team, the proper team, the grown-up team. You know, Spain proper. He's played 15 times, and he's won. I was going to show you, actually. He won the Euros last summer. That's the point I was gonna drive home. It was part of the Spain's Euro winning team in 24 that beat England in the final 2-1. There you go. Just come down to it, look. There, look. He played 45 minutes in the final, and he's since played, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games for Spain in the UEFA Nations League. Most recently, in their win on penalties against Xabi Simons and Virgil van Dijk and Jeremy Frimpong for the Netherlands. There you go. And this article here, which is almost like a transcript of one of the podcasts by this Christian Falk from the Bayern Insider, points out that he'd be perfect for Real Madrid, although Ezequiel Palacios is on that list. But it'd be perfect. It'd be a bargain for reinforcing the midfield at Real Madrid. Exactly what they need. Someone that can organise the foot of the defence, spray some balls around, and start some progressive movements forward. They've got the attacking threat, right? With the Mbappe, with Rodrigo, and Vinny Jr. They've got the attacking threat. It's just keeping that defence shored up, locking down that midfield, and that's exactly what you get with someone like Angelo Stiller. So, with all that in mind, where's he going? Is he staying at Stuttgart? Well, he's in the short term. Now, whether or not he plays in that DFB Pokal final, we'll all find out. We'll all find out together, because, again, we're doing a watch-along, so you can all get involved with us on May 24th, that final in Berlin. And, again, it'll take our breath away. Come and join us. But then after that, what's he doing? Because, again, he's got this release clause, right? One more time. He's got a release clause of 38... Well, that's his value, sorry. 36.5 million. Where was it again? Yeah, look, yeah. 36.5 million release clause, which comes up next summer, so summer 26. He's got the same agent as Toni KROOS. People like Joshua Kimmich refer to him as a Toni KROOS regen. So he's got all those attributes. He's in the mould of one of the most generational defining defensive midfielders or deep line playmakers. He's got all those attributes. Where's he going? Doesn't feel like it's Barcelona because they're a bit strapped for cash, even though they have just won La Liga. Real Madrid need him desperately, but again, Xabi Alonso's not in the post yet. Is he going to Arsenal? Well, Martin Zubimendi's the priority. Is he going to end up at Liverpool? You don't feel like he's going to get regular game time if he goes there. It feels like he'll be shuffled or rotated in and out. And at 20, how old did we say he was again? 24 years of age, he's going to want regular game time so he can keep growing. What do you think, by the way? With all those facts taken into consideration, and take a minute, take a few minutes if you like, take a few days. Don't take too long though. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below, because you know the drill. And that's it, right? That was another video. I was dying to do this one because, yeah, this guy keeps popping up because he's a much in-demand player. Could be another generational talent like Toni KROOS. That's where I'd like you to let us know in the comment section down below what you think. Right, go and like this video, won't you? Go on, give it a like. Smash that like. Go and use those fingers and thumbs to give us a subscribe and spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your work colleagues, tell your classmates. Tell people where you're out and about, even on the park, kicking a ball around. Do you know about that German football spotlight channel? Hey, that Craig and that Gonzo, they're pretty smart. Dub. Anyway, get involved. Thanks for giving it your time today as well. Enjoy the match day 34, the last day of the Bundesliga this season. Enjoy that. Bring on any questions. You can find us all over the place on social media at German Football Spotlight. Anyway, ciao. We're going now.